to $250 for a credit card. And he said, what can I do with $250? I can't buy anything, can't book an airline flight. By the way, it's pounds over there, so 250 pounds, excuse me, is what they sent it to. But as this person reached out, there were all these other people that had these credit lines cut. And it was just a substantial amount of people that had $11,000 cut down to $500. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like everyone got $250. We just started slashing credit lines. Now, here's the thing. We're seeing this here in the States as well. You're seeing it with Chase Bank. You're seeing it with Bank of America. Wells Fargo is doing this. And then you're seeing the people that are like, hey, I don't know what's going on, Dan, but they just raised my credit limit by $5,000. So it's odd because most of the people that are getting their credit lines cut right now are the people that have never been laid on a bill ever. So it's very odd, to say the least. So these people in the UK with Barclaycard, get used to this, guys, because it's going to happen more and more and more and more. So the frustrating thing about this is that
just trying to read my notes from yesterday's call.
they've asked
Frankly, I can't fully understand them. I should have read them last night. How is everybody? Don't worry about the news, Len. The GTII is down because the criminals sell stock that doesn't exist. And news isn't going to change that. But, Len, I will tell you, Len, in my opinion, let me just give you the price. Last trade, $1.12.3, 112 by 113. This stock opened at $1.12. It went as low as 94.69. Why 94.69? And it's now trading higher, albeit just a tiny bit, higher than where it opened on great volume, 1.35 million shares. So, Len, in my opinion, this could be the day that it's etafsio for the shorting. All right, so let's let me look also, Len, at the bid and asks. And I just want to point out to you, I don't know why it doesn't come up. It's very slow, Len, today. It's almost as if they know I'm looking it up and they're blocking it. Let me take off, let me just take off the Wi-Fi. It might be the Wi-Fi is the problem. Yep. Wi-Fi is the issue. I don't know why Wi-Fi doesn't work. All right, so Glenn, look at these bidders. 100 shares, 200, 100, 500, 100. GTSM, OTCN, ETRF, CSTI, INTL, Citadel, NITE, Vert, Puma, Van Dam, TLSA, TR Trillion. It's all just bogus market makers. Gary Gensler allows this to happen. And that's why you have to say, give me good news. We need it today. Well, look at the asks. Here's the asks. OTCN, terrible. Night, ETRF, GTSM, GSTI, Puma, INTL, Citadel, it's all bogus. just moving it around amongst each other, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Criminal. Violating securities laws. You couldn't do it, but Gary Gensler lets the criminals do it. So what's the good news? To me, it's a sign of desperation. That's the good news. They've got it at 112, exactly where it opened. So they're going to try to turn it red on the day. We'll see if they're successful. You know, we won't try to predict what they can do. But Len, if I had to give you good news, I think it's that they've tried very hard to get this to break under $1, see if you guys are going to sell, see if there's any sell orders, and it's bounced right back up. So we've got an hour and 10 minutes to find out how it closes. Spiny Norman, I've been in AMC for 3 years. GTII is the dawdle. Hey, that's great. JMR Photographic bought more. I think that's great. I mean, I don't know. Just in my opinion. Basamo, I'm pissed it missed my buy order by a penny. Well, they knew you were in there. I was talking to them, and I said, you know, Basamo has an order in at 94 cents. No, I don't talk to him. Andy Avails. Ham tweeted they can't cover GTII, so how does this get resolved? It doesn't. It seems like fundamentals or technicals. It doesn't seem like fundamentals or technicals mean anything. Well, I think that's right, Andy. The news isn't going to really make much of a difference. Only thing news does is if it catches out the shorts. Let me give you an example. What if let me just show you. There's GTII's website. Our portfolio. Projects in development. Projects in development. We all know about wildfire media. It's supposed to be done today. So, and we haven't heard anything. So I don't know how to call that one. It's starting to look like the deadline will be missed and maybe the deal falls by the wayside. But here's this, Trento Resources and Energy, right on their website. 40% interest in Trento SPA, privately held company in Chile. Purpose is to develop, refine, and sell rare earth minerals and iron. Operations are projected to commence in 2022, with full-scale production expected at the end of 2023. Well, that's on their website still. So obviously that timeline has to be shifted slightly. But if, for example, one morning you woke up to find that that deal got done. All of a sudden, the shorts are caught out because the book value, the asset value, the NAV of a share of GTII is going to be, I would guess, at least 5 times their average short price, and people are going to come in to buy it. I think that Kramer's average price in GTII is 75 cents at best. It might be less than that. Yes, they have added to their selling at higher prices, but it takes a lot of selling at higher prices to get your average up. So anyway, that's when news matters. Yeah, I think, David, I think MMTLP is very strong. Fahad, I think everything's going to be all right. Well, Spiny, you might be right. They may wait until after the market closes and do another extension. It's possible. We kind of get it. Well, we kind of get it. All right, we kind of get it. We kind of get it. We'll ask the magic fate ball. 1-800 law firm, yes or no. We're asking the fate ball. You may rely on it. You may rely on it. You may rely on it. Man, my screen is filthy. You may rely on it. So that's what the magic 8 ball says. How's that? That's better than flipping a coin. Kodak's testing the high of the day. Well, so's GTII. Not quite, actually. Not quite. Kodak is 379. It opened at 362. High is 380. You're right. It's testing the high of the day. Hey, Dan. Hey, we will prevail. What's the song? Country Boys Will Survive. I forget the song. Hey, Dips Patel, we're still holding. No squeeze today. Seinfeld. I like that. Did Seinfeld really say that? I like that. Heidi, you gifted an 8 ball to your boss. Was she having hard times with her decisions? We always get it right. Is Eric back? Wow. Welcome back, Eric Everett. You added more at 98 cents? El Bravo. Bravo. No, bravo. No, bravo. M. Casey, investing in the market is getting to be a real pain in the arse. What's the word with this conference call? I don't know. We'll find out in half an hour. Buying these dips. I wish you could get rid of the dips over at the SEC. That's where you had it, 94 cents. Hey Heidi, there's people coming up beside me here making noise, but it's okay. No OTC fee when you buy. Well, that's at what price? Hi. At what price? Frank Anastasio. That's my eyesight if I got that wrong. Great deals going in aisle 8. Attention all shoppers. Wow. Average. You got your average down to 257. Great. Rumor that 1-800 done if GTI, if so, it'll be $15 by Friday. Well, that'd be interesting. Hey Claire, I'm sorry I'm not saying hi to everybody. Sway, I am reading the names though. Hello son. I hope you got your homework finished and you did your 50 push-ups and you helped a lady cross the street today. Fidelity's blaming Liberty. Well, Peter, I think Fidelity is the one company that might start a buy-in, but the other one would be, the one that's combining Ameritrade. Olaf from West Palm Beach, whole lot to you as well. And mahalo, or whatever they say in Hawaii. Len, I tried to answer your question. So I don't know if I did, but I tried to. Pete talks. See, what they do in the UK is they think they're clever. They come up with slang for words that rhyme. So everything went Peter Tong yesterday. It's pretty clever. I mean, on this morning on the opening. GoLogic was up nicely this morning, but it's flat. I was just trying to read my notes. I don't think I'll try. I'll have to do something separately. That call was recorded, but I can't find it, and maybe I hit the wrong button. So, it's all fraud. It's all fraud. Sure enough, just as soon as I come on and point out to you that it's over 1,370,000 shares, the stock opened at 112. It hit a low of 94.69 and has spiked back upward to a high of 115, currently trading at 1.1199. As soon as I point that out to you, they're trying to keep it down below $1.12. We'll see if they can do it. Well, every little bit, Steve, it's hard to see. Every little bit matters. For example, if you bought 100 shares at 99 cents, imagine if you sold that at $99. That would pay off a credit card. Optigrab. And that's all you need. I need this, and that's all I need. And this, and that's all I need. So at 3:30, Hamster's going to have a call, and I'm sure he's going to be on fire. And I'm going to call in. I guess I'll be one of the voices of futility. He hates cans. Cubano sandwiches are good except for two things: mayonnaise and onions. Well, I don't see it happening in AMC either, except when you listen to, Dan, when you listen to some people, and this lamp, that's all I need, and this chair. I listen to some people discuss it who have studied it, and they make compelling arguments that despite all of the covering and ongoing shorting, that the positions are really still large. So I suppose there could be a situation if the whole system lost control that AMC could rally. I think they have AMC and GME well and truly bounded by their strategy. And it's just like a yo-yo. If it ever gets up, they drive it right back down. It'd be interesting, though, if MMTLP's efforts made, and it could, by the way, made really large changes in the regulatory oversight. Maybe you could see a squeeze. There is news on GTII. They filed their 10Q. I don't see that news, but let me go to another website. Take a picture of the 8 balls answer before I move on. All right, so I don't see the news, so let me go to Edgar. May 15th, quarterly report for GTII. So let's see what it has to say. I'm just reading through it. Financial statements, consolidated balance sheet. I like to always go to management discussion, but I don't see management discussion here. Okay, so total assets, 19 million. 19 million in total assets. And Kurt Kramer, you know how he sees that? It all belongs to him. Current liabilities, 5 million. They have a note payable for 5 million. So total long term. So total liabilities are 10 million squid. Their total operating expenses compensation, charitable donations. Wow, they made more donations than Kurt Kramer. They have a huge operating loss, 72 million. I'm not exactly sure how that's possible, but maybe it's a write-down of goodwill or something like that. So they have a loss before income taxes of almost 73 million. Basic and diluted loss per share, 25 cents. Weighted average number of shares outstanding, almost 300 million. Stock, there it is. Stock issued for services, 72 million. That's their write-down. Stock issued for services, 72 million. Stock issued for services, 72 million. You know, my friends, that seems like a lot of stock. All right, let me see if I can read some of this really fine print. Talking about COVID. That's just excuse making, so I'm going to skip it. The accompanying consolidated financial statements include the accounts of the company and its wholly owned subsidiaries, Ludicrous, TTI Strategic Acquisitions and Equity Group, Classroom Salon Holdings, TTII Oil and Gas, and GT International. All subsidiaries of the company other than TTI Strategic Acquisitions and Equity Group currently have no financial activity. Cash equivalents, $4 million. The company accounts for stock-based compensation in accordance with the provisions of ASC 718, which requires all share-based payments to employees, including grants of employee stock options, to be recognized in the financial statements based on the grant date fair value. That's interesting. Hang on a second. I've got to take this in private. Okay, so sorry about that. The company had no revenues during 3 and 6 months ended September 2022 and 2021. When revenues commence, they will, anyway, they'll follow accounting rules. Related party transactions totaled $1.7 million. Cash advances and expenses paid by Mr. Reichman to satisfy the expense needs of the company. The payables and cash advances are unsecured, due on demand, and do not bear interest. $212,000 as of March 31, 2023. And then there's due to, I guess, owing to related parties. There's an amount just over $1 million, does not bear interest. During the 3 months ended March 31, the company issued 48 million shares of common stock with a fair market value of $72 million for services rendered. Directors were issued 36 million shares with a total value of $54 million. A total of 557,000 shares issued for services performed during the period, including legal, IR services, IT, and consulting services, were valued at $700,000. Medical advisory and service related to a 501c charitable organization received 11 million shares valued at $16 million. There's some other stuff I'm not going to read because I'll read it later to myself. It's about lawsuits that go way back. The company was incorporated in 1980 under the laws of Nevada with the name Western Exploration. In 1990, it changed its name to Nugget Exploration. In 1999, merged into Go Health MD, a Delaware corporation. Shortly thereafter, Nugget Exploration changed its name to Go Health MD. In August of 2004, changed its name to Treetop Industries. on July 7, 2016, Treetop Industries changed its name to Global Tech Industries. Going to skip a bunch of this, skip a bunch of that. Results of operations for the 3 months ended March 31, 2023. There were no revenues, and that compares to no revenues. Operating expenses increased from 1.1 million to 72 million. The company issued 72 million in stock during the first quarter, as compared to 800,000 in the same quarter last year. Other information. Signed by David Reichman, May 15, 2023. So that's the news today. Stock is 111 to 112. Since we've come on, it's traded about 20,000 shares. So very little volume since we came on. 320. I'll look at some of your questions, but I caution you that in about 5 minutes I'm going to be getting on this call with you. You'll hear it. You will hear it. P-Man Logic and Go Logic, let me look at them. The call's going to be about GTII, but Logic is trading at 38 cents, 52,000, 35 cents to 40 cents. It sounds like the deadlines have moved slightly, June, July, rather than May, June. It's not an enormous change. But Logic is going to, just to be simplistic, there'll be a publicly traded Data Logic, and then Logic itself will acquire a private company. Data Logic, I think on the worst of assumptions, should be worth about, to come out the gate, $1 to $1.25 a share. What they're going to acquire so you'll have $1 in one hand. They'll acquire private company in the other. Worst case, 75 cents. So worst case, you come out with $1.75 in about 6 weeks to 8 weeks, trading at 38 cents now. And then Go Logic is 295, 255 to 310. It was as high as 320. Go Logic, and I was just looking at my notes, which I can barely read, but he gave several scenarios of Go Logic potentially occurring, and one was that they could continue to uplist onto the NYSE. They could also go with a financing with Craft Capital, which would be all retail with no warrants. Another way is something he called Reg A Plus. I don't know, not Reg A, you know. We're jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming in the name of the Lord. No, Reg A as Regulation A. Another way of moving forward, I don't know what he meant by that because I don't know what it means. And then he said, and I assume it's tied to this, the idea would be to uplist on the NYSE. And then he mentioned there might be, as another alternative, a transaction with an existing company that's already on a senior exchange. In other words, a merger. And that I don't know. Anyway, GoLogic has exciting things ahead, and the goal he specifically stated that he has is to cause maximum pain to the shorts in GoLogic. It's a smaller amount, but on a relative basis, it's high. Within the story of GoLogic. So I don't know if I have any other notes. So I was told to call into Ham by Ham, but maybe they're going to have a space call instead. So maybe there's no role for me in that. But we'll listen. We'll go listen. Barbara L. There's a rose right there. Ralph, I have no information on the 1-800 law firm. No information at all. I can't find the space call. I thought I'm supposed to call in. I'm really confused.
to get together.
We're going to.
All right, Bill, we're here, I believe, everyone.
I'm
This
here.
is buy or sell. This is education, and just to give you a heads up on what we're seeing and what we're doing, and how we're going to move forward. We got busy brands. We have Anna over here. We have a whole bunch of others on a big week here. And again, I had to start off the day with motor vehicles, and I got pulled over. All my cars are illegally not registered or inspected, so I had a big problem this morning. Anyway, we're back in the spotlight here, and Bill, the attack goes on every day.
Well, before you get off and running, let me just point out something about today's attack, and you can comment. But the stock opened at 112. It went down as low as 94, and it rallied back. And right now, it's trying to go above its opening price on 1.4 million shares. That's exactly what you want when there's a turnaround to the upside. That's my opinion.
All right, that's again, I don't give any signs to anything. It's all fraud, But the manipulation, it's been a slow manipulation down. We've been moving down since $1.70. We had the one spike up that one day where somebody was definitely covering that day. That was a different sign. But the next day they attacked it straight down, sending a message to our good friend Ace. Stop being happy. That was the message. That's what I got out of that. So they need to take out our happy people and shoot them, and that's what they did. Anyway, just let me, as far as the stock goes, I sold some of my other holdings, and I put a bid down for $9,099. I can't flip it. I can't sell it because I paid for it with funds that didn't settle yet. So a couple of people asked me if I'm selling it. No, I'm not. All right, so I just let you know that, and that's what I've done. That's for myself. All right, again, I sold something else that I didn't want to sell that I've been holding on to, just to say that this is ridiculous. But anyway, it is what it is. I just want to let you know that I am going to DC tomorrow, and I'm on my way to Staples to make a bunch of copies of some new literature that I can put into my folders, and me and William will be attacking some of the new members of Congress that are going after the naked short sellers on the banking committee side, and everyone who's stuck their nose into it will get the chance to sit down with us tomorrow, and we will go over all these things. I will get up at 4 in the morning and drive down. It's a 3.5 drive from New York. So we'll be down here, we'll have breakfast, and we'll get going by 8:30 and start getting out this information. And for those who don't understand it, they will understand it when we're done with them. That I can promise you. The people that are shorting GTII, Alpine, I printed out the literature. I printed out the literature on the Kramers. We can show the criminals. We can show everything that's going on here. What we are showing now is that the people behind us are running trades to offshore. What are their ties to who and offshore? And why does the U.S. government allow this money to be siphoned from the U.S. to offshore accounts? As far as I'm concerned, until they prove me wrong and show me who it is and bring up the dead bodies, they are terrorist organizations that are here to destroy our banking system, our health care, whatever we believe in the U.S. These guys are looting and taking the money out of people's pensions. Our first responders, Wall Street always says they want to protect them. Obviously, no one's doing anything to protect anyone. Okay, I posted news about Charlie Victim Mary this morning with positive data on the survival rate of head and neck cancer. Stock is doing zero, worthless. Gentleman just asked me to look at some stock. I can't remember the symbol. Their revenue went from $430,000 to $2.3, almost $3 million. Stock's down 16 cents. There's no reward on the U.S. equity markets for doing business. You're just being robbed. Okay, Finger Motion came out with news on Friday that they did a deal with the Netflix of China, and I couldn't even read the story and they were knocking it down already. Right, Bill? The story.
That's a crack research. That's a crack research team over at Lind Partners.
I couldn't even read the story. It was so wordy, trying to figure it out. And the stock was 212 when I looked up. As I started reading the story, they were hitting it at 180.
Well, it was obvious. It's 100 million new users and growing in video. It's obviously bad news. You got to sell.
So I'm just trying to show everybody, no matter what spectrum you're looking at, whether it's a bank stock, a cancer stock, MULN, this poor bastard can't come up for air. They're doing everything they can to break him again. He keeps coming up with revenue deals, and he can deliver this, he can deliver that. But at the end of the day, they just keep trying to drown him. Okay? Who's drowning this guy? Who keeps if the guy can't come up for air? Okay? People keep yelling at me, well, the dividend didn't work. Well, I look at it differently. The dividend did work. All right? Whoever is short 30 to 40 million new shares at $1.10, whatever it is. It's $30 million they just lost on their books. The brokerage firms are liable to the investors that own the stock. Now, if they want to protect the crooks, they will be dragged into the court of law and be forced to make those payments. If everybody on this phone call, Izzy Brands, Anna, William, everybody else here, do you want to sue an LLC that has nothing in it, from the Kramers or Alpine, or would you like to sue E-Trade, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, whoever it is? You want to sue the deep pockets. That is what the dividend does. It removes the liability from the crooks, and it's nice we drop it right on the deep pockets. They will eventually start looking for the stock for delivery. Once the shorts get called to deliver the stock, the brokerage firms do not want to take this hit. They're going to start looking for someone who just robbed their store. That's how it works. That's what the dividend's about. The Wall Street is broken. The shorts know it. They used the brokerage firms. The brokerage firms fell for it again, and now they're going to be exposed. Wes Christian and his lawyers are watching the trading. I document and I put up all the wash trades for a reason. There's other people watching it. If they're missing it, I'm catching it. Okay? And today I put a bid in to buy stock at 99 cents for a reason, because I saw them having a bid for 100,000 just below me. I knew they were going to cross that stock. So they had to get to that price. They had to whack me first. Okay? So they had to sell it down first so that then they could cross the 100,000. For those who don't understand it, when you wash a trade, okay, cross it back and forth to themselves, they are buying more settlement time. It's like kiting a check or using your credit card to get you more time to pay one to pay the other. They want more settlement time. Someone's looking for delivery of the stock, and what they're saying is, hey, I just bought it today at 97 cents. And now the new person owes this guy the stock, and he says, I bought it now. I just bought it from Morgan Stanley. So now the person that was looking for delivery, let's say it's E-Trade, they have a new paper trail to go on, and it buys them more settlement time. That's why you see all these wash trades. It's completely fraudulent. It puts false information into the marketplaces by creating volume, okay? And the only people that are doing this type of stuff are terrorists, as far as I'm concerned. They're terrorizing investors, American citizens, and we have no idea where this offshore money's going to and who it's helping support offshore. So it's my battle cry. When I go down tomorrow, everyone's going to know the people that are shorting these stocks, whether it's banking, medical, car companies, whatever it may be, they are terrorists and need to be treated like that. I showed people before the proof from 9/11 in 2001. The terrorists were buying puts on the airline stocks. Hold on, I got Tom calling me. They were buying puts on the airline stocks in advance of the raids. Okay, it's well known. The SEC never told us who bought all those puts and shorted the stocks before the towers were attacked. So we know that they're playing in the U.S. equity markets. We all know that, okay? That wasn't, they just didn't do it. If they were doing it then, where they were going to get caught anyway, you know they're doing it in other places, okay? They're not that stupid. So they know people offshore. When I spoke to the people in Saudi Arabia about opening a stock exchange there, they told me the U.S. equity markets are all fraud. They knew about naked short selling. They all know about it. So if they know about it, why wouldn't they be doing it? Why wouldn't people in Russia be doing it? You know, everyone is doing this thing, and the U.S. government has no control over who's doing what. You never know what they're going to attack next. We put up proof from years ago, Patrick Byrne, about force protection. It was a military company. It was a military company that was destroyed by naked short sellers. It was saved by Northrop Grumman, and the stock was 30, should have been 100, but Northrop Grumman paid $5.75 to take it private. All the technology that these poor guys developed to help protect our soldiers was given away for pennies on the dollar to Northrop Grumman. Okay? That's what you get for rewarding and building in the U.S. The short sellers and small cap stocks like GTII, these guys are all laundering it offshore. Okay? Whoever's shorting, playing in GTII is 100% not standing around on 57th Street in New York City. They're doing it from offshore locations, onshore, whether it's through Canada, through Europe, wherever it may be. These guys are doing it from a distance because we've put so much heat on this thing and so many people watching it. You have to be out of your mind to be standing in the bank vault when you know the police are coming. That's what these guys are doing. And they're not even wearing a mask. The paper trail is going to go back to them. We're not going away. We will get this exposed. We have wonderful people, and I'm going to say it again, wonderful people working from the MMTLP crowd that are helping out and getting new big reporters on here. I'm getting reports on the trillions of dollars that was stolen that I quoted. I'm going to have the data given to someone for the new reporters, major reporters that are going to be looking at this stuff, okay? And the angle is terrorism, okay? Because who would want to destroy and loot the pensions, the first responders, the doctors, the military, of all their money, all the wonderful things that these people do? Who's looting it? Is it the hedge funds in New York City? I can't believe it can be them, right? Could it be the Kramers? Could the Kramers from Long Island? Or are they being told to do it for somebody? Are they in front for a terrorist organization? Well, that's what I believe, and that's the angle I'm going to take on it until someone proves me wrong and shows me who's naked short selling. As far as I'm concerned, they're terrorists. They're destroying, looting the U.S. The money's going offshore. I just reposted on Twitter all the LLCs that Alpine has. Alpine has been looting, has all these offshore accounts for years. Who are they doing it for? Okay? You can only steal how many billions of dollars? Obviously, they've been doing it for someone else. Who is their partner? How do we know it's not a crime family? How do we know who they're working for? We don't know. What are they doing with the money? I have no idea, okay? We reached out to the American Bankers Association. We have some senators, reporters. Everyone is rowing the boat the right way. Remember, a public company has to go through lawyers and do all things slow and steady. These guys just hit sell buttons. That's it. And the SEC needs to stop this. FINRA needs to stop this. Now, Bill, I'm just going to say one more thing, and I'll let you jump in because I can go all day. But Mark Bazile has this huge hearing with the blue sheets from MMTLP. To me, that is earth-shattering. I don't care. I'm not involved in the stock. What's happened to these people in the stock is earth-shattering. And for me, as a veteran of doing this nonsense, this is the game changer. It's not the best proof in the world, okay? GTII has the best proof from the depository trust. But what they have is earth-shattering because I've never heard from a regulator. And they put it in writing. We can see how they think and what they're going to do. You can see it. They know they're in trouble. They know they're on tape. They know the emails are exposed now. They know that we know that they read Twitter. They know the people are crying to them. They know the 30,000 reports that were sent in. Charlie Payne, okay, which I dropped on you guys, MMTLP, has exposed Hester Peirce, okay? And I've been hearing through the grapevine that she is working to help everyone here. Okay, I don't know what she's doing, but that's what I'm hearing. And the reason she's helping is because she got ripped apart by Charlie Payne. Right? He destroyed her. She tried to give him the old soft shoe shuffle to shuffle off the buffalo. She couldn't answer the company line. He said that people sent in 30,000 complaints. We don't want to hear this anymore. What are you going to do? They're stuck 150 days. Okay? This is earth-shattering, what Mark is doing. Have respect for these people. Okay? This is a tough fight. I've been doing this 23 years. People tell me they've been here 6 months crying. You know what? I feel bad for you, but I really don't give a shit. All right? We've been doing this. My friends have passed away. I have friends that shot themselves. You name it. Okay? Heart attacks, family divorces. I've seen it all. And I put up a picture of the Civil War on my Twitter feed for a reason. I told you, everybody, this is a battle. It's not going to be a walk in the park. The regulators, everybody knows about this, but they haven't stopped it. We put the truck in front of the SEC. I can't even tell you how many times we did it in the lobby of the SEC. You're telling me they don't see it? They didn't see the people protesting out there for the MMTLP and the whole crowd that was down there? People who left their families, spent good money to try to defend and expose this crime. All right? I know there's great people here. So when I started this thing, there were small amounts of people. I got Optimuse has been with me for 20 years, a guy like that. All right? He's been here 20 years fighting for us. Right? There's many people like him. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's great people here, and there's new people that are helping out. All right? The people stuck in MMTLP are stuck. They can't do anything about it. And they're the soldiers that are fighting back for all of us. All right? So I'm with you. I don't own it. My friends own it. I wish everyone the best. Mark Bazile is going to do his best. Wes Christian is fighting. It's not easy. If it was so easy, they show us their cards. They don't want to show them for a reason because you caught them. We know you caught them. We all know that. They don't want to show their cards. They're playing poker. We can see their cards. That's how stupid this is. All right? But Alpine needs to be shut down. The blue sheets need to get exposed. We need to see that number here. All right? These are the things that has to happen. All right? So, again, Bill, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I'll join in with you on what Mark is doing. Is I can't say Hercules in the proper way, but it's like Hercules. This is tremendous. What it means to me is that I just had breakfast this morning with a senior, one of the most respected guys in oil and gas. He didn't understand anything I was talking about. He works with hundreds of companies, and that's the fact. People don't understand it. Once what Mark Belial gets out, it's not that hard to understand. And once people see it, it's going to be earth-changing. The second thing I'd like you to, I guess I'll just point three things out to you, the questions I'm seeing. But I want to bring up one thing. When you talk about these market, I don't know if you have talked about the market makers, maybe you could, but these shorts, everything they're doing is a sign of weakness, what they're doing right now. That's my first point. My second question is, everyone's asking about 1-800 Law Firm. I don't think we control it. And then the third thing is, you might be interested to know Kodak's making new highs, and that would allow you to talk about that if you care.
Well, you with me, we sat down with the representatives of Rochester, and their mouth was wide open when we explained to them how this can turn around, besides the company, it can turn around the city, okay? And this city was left for dead. If Kodak turns around, for those who don't know about Kodak, if you're under 15 years of age, Kodak was a Dow component, and it was EK was the symbol, and it was the biggest company. It ran the whole city. Everyone in that city owns probably shares in Kodak, and it's fallen on hard times. But like GameStop was going out of business when the stock rallied. They raised money, they got added to indexes, and it's got a $20 billion market cap, and it's back alive. That's what short squeeze, that's what it did for GameStop, and it could do for Kodak, and it could do for many other companies of these small towns. Instead, the money's going offshore, and I believe could be funding a terrorist group. We have no idea who's behind the stuff. Zero. The SEC won't even tell MMTLP, I hope so, they have to give them the names of who the short sellers are, who sold all the stock in these blue sheets. Obviously the number's going to be bigger. Who is behind it, right? Who's taking advantage? Who sold, whether it's 1 million or 200 or 300 million shares at $5? That's a lot of money that's been disappearing. I'm just picking a stupid number, okay? Where did that money go? Where's the paper trail? Where did the money go, right? I believe, until someone proves me wrong, they're terrorists. I can't believe it's a neighbor or someone on Madison Avenue that's doing it, all right? Lynn Partners, they're pretty smart guys, well-educated. If they're shorting against a debenture, okay, are they partners with people offshore? Obviously, we've seen that they've done business with someone in Australia. They have a partner over there, a deep pocket guy there. Does he have ties? Has he been vetted by?
He's the son. He's the son of the wealthiest person in Australia.
So the son of the wealthiest person in Australia is helping Lynn Partners loot U.S. public companies to help that wealthiest family in Australia get richer. Who knows who these people are and what they do? Okay, it needs to be exposed. We need to see the paper trail, and we need to see who is robbing the American people. Remember, when you speak to the press, prove us wrong. The money is going somewhere. We have proof that the terrorists play in the equity markets, and the terrorists, as far as I'm concerned, listen, I've been fighting for small cap stocks, okay? You know, GameStop, things like that. They killed bank stocks from 500 to 0. You know, Silicon Valley. Stop blaming everyone else. They never blame the short sellers. The short sellers always blame. It's like blaming the rape victim. Oh, she wore a short dress. That's why she was raped. Okay? This has got to stop this nonsense. The short sellers always come out, and they're on TV, and they tell us how we need the short sellers. Okay? Get over it, people. As far as the tricks that they're doing, this up and down movement, and just so you can see, the reason I talk about GTI, because it's live. It's like watching a hockey game. It's live and it's in play, and you can actually see what's going on here, the manipulation back and forth. All right? You can see it. You can see the market makers they use. Their channels to sell stock into the market are getting narrow. As William said, you know, the manipulation, these are signs of weakness.
And Ham, there's been very little volume the entire time you've been talking. And the stock's going up.
That's I don't control that. I can just tell you that the manipulation. If they just covered the stock they sold last week, the stock would be $10. That's how stupid this is. They don't cover anything. Okay. Last week the short interest went up by 30,000 shares. Whoever shorted the stock, who borrowed it, okay, they knew the attack was coming. Okay, you're wasting your breath shorting a stock at $1.50, trying to think it's going to go back down to $1 to make 50 cents. All right, unless you're told about doing it. You could throw a dart and short a bank stock and make $1 in a second. Why were you playing in this piece of garbage, right? As far as deals go, I am not a deal guy. Okay, I told you I sat down with John Berta. John Berta is a deal guy. He takes detailed notes. He understands everything. I am a stock guy. I understand numbers. That's what I do. I don't do deals. I don't have the patience. If you sat down with me, I would fall asleep on you if you started telling me what your company does. I could care less. All right? My fight is stock settlement. What a public company does and their filings or whatever they do means nothing. All right? This company has fought for us for 2.5 years. Okay? Charlie Mayo, the short seller, called the company up. We have the recording of it, and the company didn't take money from them. I've been collecting all weekend emails from people who wanted to exercise their warrants at 275 from April of 2021. The brokerage firms, when the stock went to 9, refused. People wanted to pay the company the 275 when the stock is 9, but the brokerage firms told the investors they will not take the stock back from the transfer agent. Okay? They shut down the people executing their warrants. Why would they do that? Is because if you needed to exercise your warrant and they don't have them, they can't do it. Okay? That's why they told people that story. Wes needed the information. I got at least 50 emails of shareholders from all different brokerage firms that were told you cannot exercise your warrants. And these people, we had people say, well, the dividends didn't do anything. Well, there's proof. They were told they couldn't do it. Who told them? Not the company, the brokerage firms. Because they have nothing but an IOU in your account. And this is how it gets exposed. And this will come out in a court of law. The company filed a lawsuit against the street. Okay? Once discovery starts, that's when the rats will start running. Okay? I don't see what the big deal is, why they won't show us what they're doing. But we can see the spoofing, we can see the washing, we can see the manipulation every day. All right? They create stock, they create washes, they create volume. All right? I posted last week, I think I texted Dozer. I told him to be down, the short reported number would be below 30%. I even asked if he wanted to make a bet. It was 22%. How can I tell, watching a stock trade, what the numbers are going to be? Because you can see it. It stinks that you have to sit here and study it, but that's what I was trained to do. I stared at my screen all day. I only got up a couple of times, and every time I got up, I got my ass kicked. I told you about the hot dog story. So that's what Wall Street is about. Trading, you have to watch it, monitor it all the time. You turn your head, you snooze, you lose. That's how it works on Wall Street. But again, these guys are trapped. They're not going away. They keep coming back, manipulating stock. They trade it back on the bid side. They offer it. It's the same stock going back and forth all day long. Okay, this stock is a Tesla. It doesn't trade every second. But they created so many fake shares in the system. That's what they try to convince you, that everyone's a seller. There's nothing but sellers all day long. Anyway, William, anything else? Anybody got any questions? You talked about the weekend.
Well,
I have no concept. I have no news. I'm not a deal guy, so I'm in the same boat as everyone else, and I'm watching like you are.
I'll let other people ask questions, but great job. And I just
check on Busy Brands. If anyone has a question about anything,
yeah, I'll let Busy handle that, and I'll be quiet.
He's on your call. I mean, you have to look. I don't have it.
Well, no, you're in. Let me look.
That's it. I'm in my.
All right. I thought you would. Hang on. Relax, everyone. Let me get.
Technology, guys. So everybody understands. Bill's still using the paper cup and a string for us to speak to each other.
We might have to. This is what Anna was warning me about, I think. We may have to. Let me see what the questions are on the. I don't see his call. Anyway, the main question I'm getting is, I'm getting a lot of thank yous to you, but the main question I'm getting is about 1-800-Law-Firm. But there's nothing we can know about that, and it doesn't matter anyways.
Let's look at it this way. Okay, I'm going to give you my opinion on it. If you read what I say on Twitter about the U.S. equity markets, what would you do? William, your dad owns a big company, and you read what I write on Twitter, and I say, William, why don't you merge with GTII? You would sit there and say what to me?
I would say, unless you're fully funded, stay out of the U.S. markets.
Or I would say, you got to remember, I speak with people, and they read what I say on Twitter, where I call the U.S. equity markets a complete fraud. That the whole system is broken, completely fraudulent, stay 10 miles away. And then I say to you, hey, why don't you merge your company in with GTII? If you listen to me speak, I'm like a lunatic, and again, how do people with real companies, when they speak with GTII in those conversations, I don't know how they go, but there's got to be a little hesitation because companies are just being robbed.
All right, so Hamster, you're now via the technology of Twitter. You're now being heard in a space call. So I'll let Busy and Anna control it, and retail, and they'll ask you questions.
Good.
They're still sorting. Kristen Shaughnessy is there. She's terrific supporter of you. Anna, is this working? Does anybody have a question? I don't know. I'm not hearing anything.
Well, again, there's so much fraud. It's hard for anything, if it was my family member, I would think twice and say, okay, merge with a company. So again, if a company wants to go public, is they have to do it for a reason that would suit them, and that's the only reason you would do it, because otherwise, who would want to be involved? For example, Charlie Victor Mary came out with news today about the extending life on cancer, and the stock's up 20 cents. No one cares. They hold it down. The stock, the CEO is pouring his heart out to you, and no one cares. CELU had great news. I met with these people. The stock is 54 cents, down from 75. They raised money. And, how are they going to get the stock over $1 to get listed back on NASDAQ? Because obviously they get the delisting notice. MULN raised money, reversed the stock. And, at $1.24, they're going to have to, at $1, I think, they got to do it again. They're going to get kicked off again. So you already 25% of your money there. So, again, you can see the crimes. Everyone can see it all over the place.
So my theory, which you don't seem to agree with, but we closed above where we opened on relatively large volume. This could be a good day for us. And I know I'm not a technician. I'm just saying the criminals don't have as much strength as they think they do. They tried to sell it down, and it didn't work.
Again, these attacks have been happening for a long time. For 2.5 years, we watched these attacks. Most people are right about seeing this. But I posted on Friday my thoughts on PACW, and I was sitting there saying, okay, if they're not knocking it down on a Friday, because that's when the stocks really, over the weekend, they were attacking using the weekend as please don't hold on to the stock over the weekend. I said maybe buy some cheap calls, because that means that the SEC and the DOJ are 100% investigating these stocks for short selling attacks. They're looking into it. And without banning short selling, they said the message was sent. We're coming. Do you understand? That was the message to the banking community. And I said, maybe look at buying some cheap calls, because if they're not going to knock it down, obviously it's going to start to turn. And I just hit it up now because I wasn't watching it all day.
So, Ham, do you think you could call in to Busy? Because a lot of people want to hear you on the space call. And I think what's happening is because...
Get off this call. These guys have had enough. My people have had enough. Anyway, have a good night. William, I'll call on the other call.
Oh, yeah, call on the space call. Call on Busy right now.
All right, have a good night.
All right, bye.
Strength as they think they do. They tried to sell it down, and it didn't work.
Again, these attacks have been happening for a long time. For 2.5 years, we've watched these. Most people are right about seeing this. And I posted on Friday.
Can't hear. Now I can't hear. So maybe I'm cut off now. I don't know.
You're live, man. Go ahead.
So I was saying to everybody on Friday, looking at the trading at PACW, Pac West, I said the shorts were going to knock it down on Friday.
Who is that?
That the stock
Kevin
would start
Story.
to rise because the SEC and DOJ, with the Banking Association, are sending a message to the bank short sellers. Or the naked
I
short
can
sellers.
beat you at Space Invaders.
Manipulation's got to come to an end. Okay? So, in 2008, there was 799 stocks that they put their ring around, no shorting on it. The shorts are fighting hard to make sure they don't put a ban on short selling. And my theory is that they know that the investigations are coming onto this thing, and they're going to unwind and catch these terrorists. Okay? We need them on. We need them on our small stocks, but we can only do the battle ourselves, which is the truck standing in front of the SEC, walking around D.C. Trust us. We will get our name to the front of the file because we've been doing this for 2.5 years. All right? Again, I want to see everyone get staked in what they're doing. And it's like I said, I told Anna, and I'll tell you, Busy, and I told William, what's going on with that blue sheet investigation, to me, it's earth-shattering. I don't know the outcome of it. I can only tell you what we all think, what could happen. They have to fix it. These guys got caught with their pants down. The guy who got the Freedom of Information did an unbelievable job. I thought that was the key in the battle. Okay, that was most important. Okay, that proof from the regulators and how they think, the thought process, and what we know. I've never seen that before. We don't know how these regulators are like robots. Charlie Payne destroyed Hester Peirce on television. Okay, no one ever goes after a regulator with those type of questions he did. He did it as though we were doing it. All right? Cut the nonsense out. They filed a complaint. We want answers. People are locked up. And she didn't know what to say, so she got exposed here. Go find another interview like that. Show it to me, because I've been doing this a long time. I've never seen one like that. Okay? Charlie is one of us. Okay? He has a big job, so respect him. Mark Bazile is an attorney. Respect him. We are fighting the same battle. Respect everybody here. Okay? MMTLP doesn't trade. I wish you guys the best. Get your money out there. Okay? But you don't trade. GTII is trading. I have to monitor it 24/7, 7 days a week over fraud. I wish they lock it down, but they don't. Okay? Again, this is a different game, different battle, but at the end of the day, that blue sheet investigation is going to help all these small companies that are being attacked. It's not just one. There's hundreds and thousands of them. And I do believe, and I told Anna, and I told reporters myself, until they show me the dead body, the people that are doing this are terrorists. Okay? They're selling counterfeit shares, and they're terrorists. They steal from our first responders. They steal from our military, the doctors, you name it. Even the politicians are getting robbed by these guys. If we don't stop and fight together, they'll steal from you, your kids, and your grandkids. And some of us that are, some of our parents have been robbed already. Okay, so it's even going 4 generations. Okay, this has been going on since 1988. The cover of Forbes, no one can deny it. I posted The Economist magazine. It's easy to read. The best story ever, Anna, I told you, it's United Airlines. Easy to read. They killed the union, destroyed the company, wiped out all the unions and the pension money. It's right there. They destroy companies until they can't come back. Just look what they're doing to Peloton. Peloton was a tremendous growth story, explosive, big short. Every story against it's negative, no matter what they do. Companies, all companies, IBM, Microsoft, they always have a bad day. Bad product, something. They used everything against this poor company, where the company had to lay off people, fire people, and now it's just a piece of garbage down here at $7, and everybody hates it. Meanwhile, it was the biggest Why? Because it's an exercise company. It doesn't deserve to survive. The short sellers decided to give it a thumbs down like Caesar, like they did it to GameStop, AMC. I love going to the movies. I told you that. I always go make my donation to support AMC theaters. But yet they want to wipe it out. Anyway, any questions? Go ahead, people.
Let's go with Lawrence first, and then I'll continue on with him. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for welcoming me in. Listen, what Ham was referring to about the regulation and the oversight not being enforced and stuff. Well, who staffs those offices and administration? Members of Congress and Senate. Now, going back to 9/11 and everything, and the put options that were placed on American Airlines just prior before the attacks, that raises the issue that it came out in a 2021 lawsuit that the hijackers were actually recruited by the CIA, and it was the assistant deputy director. Her name was Dina Corsi, was running a program for the recruits. It was called the ALEC program. Now, members of Congress and Senate are on the hot sheet right now because of the insider trading. So all of these people that are staffing the regulation and oversight committees are members of Congress and Senate and so on and so forth. If the CIA knew about the attacks prior, they were probably investing in stock, and that's one of the reasons why they're not releasing the blue sheets. And that's why you're going to have...
I don't want to get I know the airline. All I know is the proof is there. There's options that were purchased through an account. Who did it? I don't care where it leads back to, but it leads somewhere. So if they did it there, and that is the most egregious thing they could do, because you knew they're going to get caught, okay? It's so stupid that they bought them there. I'm sure they were doing something else somewhere else, but not that stupid, all right? So, you know, if you're telling the cops you're going to kill their stock, obviously they know you know what's going on. Somebody did. What I'm saying is that they need to follow these trades, be transparent. Who is doing what? Who are the short sellers? We know the short sellers in GameStop. Why? Because they went bust. You can see what happens. All the news come out when they go bust. Okay.
What it shows is that the deep state runs a lot deeper than everybody imagines. And they are doing insider trading. They share information. If the CIA is buying stock in one company, they're going to share it with other members of Congress. They're going to share it with other members of Senate. And these people are polished.
Ham's not going to have any patience for this.
Didn't George Bush say that there's 5 reasons?
What you're saying to me is, the word to you, if you're telling me, is that we can never win against these people. So what you should do is never, ever tell your family, your friends, never put a penny in anything in the U.S. equity market. Bury it in your backyard, buy a house, fix it up, and stay away from it. That would be my advice too. But I know we're going to win. Okay, we're not going away. I take it a different approach. Okay, I don't think the CIA is at GameStop or the AMC. They could be in these big names or force protection or things like that, or a drug company. I got it. But I don't think they're in these small cap names. And we're pretty smart that we know that by dividends and other traps that you can set, you will expose them and get the information. The Freedom of Information on MMTLP has exposed the system and the regulators. You can't, once you see it, it cannot be unseen, as William used to say. Okay? So we all read it, we all see it, the lawyers see it, it's not going away.
It's like me in the shower.
So hang on to your toupees, as we like to say, and I think you're going to see a lot of action, and I trust Mark Bazile. I've never met him, I listened to him, and I think that things are going to turn up, and we're going to get a big explosion here. All right? So that's how I feel.
Let's go with another question. Collins, you have the mic.
Ham, if Alpine ends up getting kicked out by FINRA, then how do we know that their LLCs they trade back and forth with won't just kind of take over doing the same manipulation that they do? Thanks.
So when a prime broker gets shut down,
That was quick.
Alpine is the prime broker, as we call him on Wall Street. Remember the Morgan Stanley guy in GameStop? I took trades each day, he said, because they got paid a commission, right? He looked the other way, is what he did. Alpine had all the thugs doing business through the prime broker because it was basically prime. They looked the other way in all these transactions. They would let you come in and do whatever you like as long as you paid them their fee. They were the toll keeper. They were John Gotti. You had to pay John Gotti first. You had to pay the king first to get by and play. That's what Alpine was. I'm sure Alpine joined the Cravens and shorting, and he shorted with them also. You understand? Like, hey, you have a debenture? I'm going to sell some too. They're going to say, go ahead. What are they going to say? They can't stop them. All right? So they can see what everybody's doing. Alpine now goes bust. All those accounts have to be moved out of there. Do you think that people don't know that GTI is a hot name that has to be moved out? It's in the court documents. People on Wall Street, when people get in trouble, if you worked on Wall Street, everybody runs from them because you don't want to get caught in the same whirlwind. You don't know who's here. Like Jeffries and Company is not going to take a GTI short position of $300 million. Say, yeah, transfer it in here. We know that everybody's going to walk away on this trade, and we're going to take the liability for it. No one's going to want it. It's basically going to be a file Chapter 11. When they look into it and pull back the onion, peel back the onion, that's when the mess is going to be found. But right now, that mess is, let's say, 200 LLCs, maybe more. Each one of them is short a certain amount. Individually, it doesn't look like the monster that we think it is. But put it together collectively, then you have this big monster. And that's when the shit hits the fan, when they see how big this is. And again, Alpine got busted for fraud due to margin, and they've been exposed. That's the biggest no-no on Wall Street. You can rob your clients, you can do everything you want, but once you start to drag down the depository trust, that is the mothership of Wall Street. Okay, the DTC is the most powerful organization probably in the world. They clear trade all over the world, trillions of dollars. And for them to get busted the other day by selling documentation about people's trading out the back door, I'm telling you, the FBI and the DOJ has to be all over this thing by now.
Let's go hard. You have the mic. Hard. You gotta unmute yourself. Let's go to Alex. You have the mic.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up, Ham? Thanks for coming in to the space. What's up, guys? I'm mostly like, not confused is the word, but so the DTCC, they've got all this money, right? Okay. So, and they did not let this trade. Didn't let it trade because there were extraordinary events, as we know, correct? That would have happened, which would have made us all rich. Now, going forward, Ham, let's get some foresight on, like, going forward, because, I mean, we're talking about, like, what, 35,000 fucking emails? I mean, I've talked to my senator, my congresswoman. No one's doing shit. Now, are they complicit? Are they, like, complicit in this? When I go forward, because you best fucking believe I'm gonna fucking file a lawsuit after this.
Easy with the line, Alex.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Busy. My bad. Now, is it because I talked to TD Ameritrade today, and I was talking to a manager, and she was nice at first, and then she told me that she can't talk about the subject anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So A's and B's, here we go again, right? Now, just Ham, for you, like going forward for this community, what can you give everybody like a sense of like some sentiment of like going forward, a light at the end of the tunnel, if you will?
Well, I'm just like you. I've been doing this a long. The only thing I love different is that I seen the, like Pat Burns said, they changed the rules, the game, you name it. I've seen it all. Okay, but I've never ever seen a communication between the SEC and FINRA and basically tell you that they know there's a problem and they've done an investigation already. Right? They monitor Twitter. They know all about you guys. They know everything about you. Right? They know there's a problem here. Everything that was done was fraud, from listing the company to putting John Berger as the CEO, getting accused of. The whole thing is fraud. It's just amazing. You can't get away from this. The lawyers are smelling blood. Okay? John Berger and his team are big holders. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. Okay? The regulators have been exposed here. Again, the gentleman that got the Freedom of Information did an outstanding job, and it's like he threw a dart up and landed it right in the circle. It is just amazing that was, and you guys don't appreciate that. That is massive. It will not go away. We all have it. You see it. I read it all the time. I read it to people every day. They can't believe that we actually got that information. Not me, but the community got it. It's just unbelievable. I've been doing this 23 years. Pat Burns spent $30 million. And he got nothing. You guys filed the Freedom of Information and got the regulators talking back and forth about the problem, which is unheard of. So I do believe that they're going to come back, and I don't know if they're going to let it run to the moon. I don't know. They have to give you the number. If they don't give you the number, we all know why they're not giving it to you, because it's massive. Okay, eventually it's going to come out in a court of law. They have to do something. Okay,
That's
so
a law to
it's
you.
not going to happen. And again, I feel bad. You all guys locked up. Everyone's got their money locked up. And there's big money locked up. I know people got some sizable positions. But again, they can't hide it forever. Okay, the lawyers want to get paid. The shareholders want to get an opportunity to get their money out of here, and they just can't make believe that no one knows about it. If you never got that freedom of information, then we're talking about a different game. But you do have it. I would nail that to my chest and show it to everybody I can. This is all you need to know. The regulators know about it. They know about the fraud, and it's right here, and it's affecting all of us. And that's your battle cry. It's that piece of paper. Okay? The trading on it, why I bought it, why I didn't sell it, none of your business. My business is why did the SEC allow this to trade, number one. And if they're not going to protect us, we pay taxes to have these people protect us. And not only that, they're lying to us because we have the information that they know all about us. So I think they're in a tremendous spot, okay? Okay, you guys stop trading. The suffering, I got it. I believe it. I understand it. But how would you like to be in GTII watching these guys manipulate it every day? You wake up, you're not trading. I have to live it and watch it from 8 o'clock in the morning, the manipulation, to 4 o'clock every day. How the SEC, whether it's we're committing the fraud or they're committing the fraud, shut it down and follow the sell ticket. If they're coming back to me, then lock me up. I'll be the first guy. Lock me up. I'll go. But let's end it already. Okay? This game is going on. They thought we would quit. 2.5 years. You guys have been fighting 7 months. Been here 2.5 years. I've been here 23 years. I wasted my adult life doing this stuff. So when you guys feel angry about this stuff, think about 23 years of your life doing this stuff. That's what I've done. 23 years. I wasted 2.5 years of my life at GTII. I can't believe that this is going on for 2.5 years. Someone's asked me where I got to make a determination on the GTI over under on the short position. I've seen a lot of watching. I'm going to say it's going to be, at least because buying came into it, I'm going to say it's going to be 53%. All right, so it's a 53%. Okay, it's not going to be be 60 something, but it'll be above the 43. So anyway, that's my guess there. Any other questions?
Yep. We're gonna go to the most beautiful girl in the whole entire world, my wifey, divinely built. Go ahead, you have the mic.
Hi, thanks for coming on. So I have a question for you. It sounds like you're pretty battle tested and are now battle crying. I hope all your hard work pays off at the very end, very, very soon. But my question for you is about the Hester Peirce. You had brought her up, and you had mentioned in similar terms that she got heat from her superiors, and it sounds like CV Payne putting her on blast on national TV has prompted her to do something about the MMTLP situation. Given her stature and position, what do you think she can do to help the MMTLP situation, and do you anticipate her work is already in progress?
What happens is Charlie Payne did what he did was unbelievable, and he forced an SEC commissioner out of their comfort zone, where she got thrown into a tizzy here, where she tried to do the backstepping and telling everyone to file the complaint. That's what they normally do. File the complaint, we'll get back to you, we'll investigate. But he never let up on her. And then from what I'm hearing from pretty good people, that, she can't get out of that now. It's like, it's like us seeing the court docket, the SEC is FINRA speaking. She's on TV now, like Chris Cox was in 2008 when he did the new law for naked short selling, calling it fraudulent naked short selling. Once he put that out there and he said those words, okay, they've been around since 2008. We use it today. I'll show you the videos, so it stays with us forever. That woman now has been exposed, and she has to make a determination, on her own, away from the commissioners. The commissioners that are hiding behind her, they've never been put to the spotlight like she has. So they'll keep their mouth closed, saying, "I never said anything," but she did. She's out there. She's been put in the spotlight. So maybe to save her own ass, she's actually doing stuff behind the scenes to help you guys, which I heard she is. So I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe she's trying to convince other people, the other commissioners, they need to step up. I don't know. Whatever it is, I have no idea. If I hear more about it, I'll let you know.
So
but that's a good sign.
I guess go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. You answered my question. Thanks, Ham.
So I have a question for you, Ham. In regards of going back to Hester Peirce, she does work for the SEC. Can the SEC direct the broker dealers or in FINRA to open this for trading besides a judge? Do they have the power? Right?
I don't know who's going to make this determination. I think it'll be a combination that they're speaking to each other. Listen, they know there's lawsuits coming. They know the shit's going to hit the fan. They know they're going to have to give up the bad guy, whoever it may be. Things like that are going to be exposed. Listen, I'll give you my opinion, but again, this is my stupid opinion. I'm just like you guys. So again, I'm looking at it saying, okay, are they going to give you guys the number for the blue sheet investigation? I'm sitting here eating my popcorn waiting. Supposed to be 165. If it was 165 or 166 or 167, you would know about it already. Okay? So we know the number's got to be bigger. Right? Right? Even if you look at Dole Foods, that number was, there was 36 million that came out, and it was 49 million. There was 13 million counterfeits. Right? If this number is big, they're going to sit there. When it's time to give this, they have to explain to the judge why they won't give it to you. Okay? What are they going to say? Okay? All we need to know is what and who did it. And if it's that big, whoever did it belongs in jail for committing fraud, selling counterfeit shares or unregistered securities into the U.S. equity market. And the guys who started the game, who created the CUSIP, got us trading and used the old information to create this security, they have a problem too. They have liability also. What reason did they make this thing? So they're going to all get dragged into this thing. So I think the SEC, FINRA working together, they will obviously sanction somebody and call the DOJ on whoever did the criminal act. You know, I'm sure that's being brought into this also, because it is a criminal act. Whoever started it from the beginning, okay, without any knowledge, just decided to make a security and give it a CUSIP and start trading it. All right? So obviously they were doing it from the torchlight days. They had a problem, and they were just trying to way to get out of this thing. Right? So what they did is they made the mess 10 times bigger because people started seeing value in it, buying it. Now it got out of control. And when they shut it down, I always tell everybody, they locked the longs in and they locked the shorts in. They closed the door. Everybody's in the room now. Okay, so the paper trail will be uncovered, be unwound, and they can settle all these things up. They've had 150 goddamn days to figure it out. Okay? I just think they're trying to figure out the damage model, what the damage is going to be. You know, do they, you know, if the short's $300 million, okay, do they come out and just pay off those people? Once they start paying people off at a higher price, the lawyers are standing on the other side saying, oh, okay, well, you're admitting there's fraud here. We want to get compensated. So I think that's the battle cry. They have to figure out how to compensate the shareholders and how to take care of that lawsuit on the other side of it, and then put someone in jail for it. So it's going to come to a head. They can't hide it forever. And, you know, again, I know it doesn't help people that are stuck who need to pay their rent or whatever they're doing. But, again, this is what it is.
Let's go with Lou. Go ahead, Lou. You have my...
Thanks, Busy. Hey, Ham, how you doing? How's everything?
All right.
Good, good. From Bay Ridge myself. I think I heard you're from Bay Ridge. I can hear it from your expressions and all the metaphors you use. I start laughing. I'm like, this guy's great. God bless you for everything you're doing, and I get a kick out of you every time I hear you. Anyways, my question is are you off? I live right there. I live literally right there. I'm not going to disclose it because, you know, there could be a weirdo on this thing, but I live literally right there, and I work in the area too. So, but anyways, we could always DM. I just wanted to ask you, you know what, I kind of came into this late, so I apologize if you're repeating yourself. In regards to any word on like 1-800-Lawyers or 1-800-Law firm?
Again, I'm not in that. That's not my thing. I told everyone before, you know, John Berger, I met with John Berger. I know him a long time, but I never sat down with him. That guy's a deal guy. He understands. He does the things. I have no patience for that. You're from Brooklyn. I was a guy who played roller hockey on 34th Street. So, down in Prospect Park, I was down there, So that's not my thing. I'm a numbers guy. All I do is study numbers. I memorize stock symbols and I memorize numbers. That's what I do. As far as what a company does, I have nothing to do with that at all. Zero. Companies come to them with deals. And I describe this to everybody. If you just listen to me, and one breath I'm telling people, stay away from the U.S. equity market, it's a complete fraud. And the next breath I'm telling people, hey, why don't you go merge with GTII? It's like, this guy's got to be crazy.
Right.
We need to get fundamentals to kill a company. I don't even believe in fundamentals because I see it every day. I told them I would see with CELU because he's a neurosurgeon. Working on medical cures the disease. They said, there's no respect for what anybody does on Wall Street. And my battle cry, if I was the CEO, is saying I have enough proof of all these crazy things from the Kramers to the Charlie Mayo call, from people calling the company of trying to buy stock, to the discrepancies in dividends, to the warrants, people telling, the brokerage firms told people if they executed their warrants and you paid $2.75 for them, you would be able to put it back in your account. So why would anybody pay for it? But meanwhile, 20 million of them times $2.75, $60 million, the company was defrauded out of. The stock was $9. Imagine the company raising $60 million
Yeah.
Think about where we be today. The company could have bought ELU for cash. It took all their technology for nothing. So, I mean, there's damage models all over the place. And, you know, as far as what they do, I don't know. But as far as stock settlement, I'm not going away until we uncover these guys, whoever it is, and
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you know, you got things like these outside. I mean, the fact that Dividend, you have the Trento mine that we're waiting to hear about. We're waiting to hear about 1-800-Lawyers, a law firm, whoever. This is all pressure because if I understand this correctly, it's putting it by all of these things happening. It's upping the value of the stock, but yet these.
I think you're wrong. The value of the stock, where it is for one reason only, and that's something I created: the dividends. We think that the dividends don't work. The dividends got us. The dividends help the company raise money, help create discrepancies, help bring the law firms in here. Wes Christian wouldn't take a case on. He wouldn't take a case on unless he saw damage models, a big numbers, $100 million minimum, right? So just the dividend alone, the warrant execution is $60 million loss. Just the stock being pushed down from $1.60 to $1 today is a 60 cent times, you know, whatever the number is, you know, it's $100 million. So there's damages all over the place. And the reason this company is levitating and staying strong is not that they're bringing in whatever revenue in here, because they're going to be paying for that revenue, obviously, right? They're going to give them stock, you know, they're not getting it for their good luck. But the dividend has grown Wall Street and basically trapped these guys.
But him,
okay.
But what's the point of mentioning the Trento mine and the 1-800-Lawyer thing? Like, how does that benefit? Because I mean, that's been, you know.
No, listen, these are things that companies listen. CEOs of a company got one thing in there, and they need to bring fundamental value in. I don't give a shit about it. I'm telling you that as far as I'm focused on, I know these things are out there. It doesn't work. It's home run. Obviously, the company, if they bring in the fundamentals, the company ain't going to zero, right? Obviously, right? They have fundamentals, which is great. Again, but I look at it and say, I see fundamentals every day. I reported on a small company today. I can't remember the symbol. Guy next to me, I put it up. Their revenue went from $400,000 to $3 million. The stock went down 16 cents.
Right.
Okay, they're building these things. I mean, listen, again, does it help? Yes. Do I care about it? No. That's my opinion of it. I mean,
I understand. All right. Thank you.
Go ahead. Let's go to another question. Let's go to Michael. I see you up here. You have a mic. Michael, you have to mute yourself. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Ham. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, based on everything you said today, I won't beat this to death, but based on everything you said today, like, I've been with you, listening to you specifically for 2.5 years. So, I'm also off the subject. I'm a Brokerage guy too, but that doesn't matter. It sounds to me like, based on everything with fundamentals not mattering to you, it sounds to me like the only thing we're basically waiting on is either the dividend to do something or whatever Wes is gonna be doing, because I just don't see, based on everything you're saying, there being any other catalyst. Because you just said, I can't believe I'm here 2.5 years. I can't believe I'm here 2.5 years either. But to me, it sounds like settlement is gonna come from Wes. Am I incorrect?
I live outside the fundamental world, and I do believe Wes is going to get us to discovery. Once they go to discovery, the spoofing and the washing are criminal charges now, okay? So the people that are being attacked on this thing are taking it very serious, and they have problems, right? The judge knows about this based on the JP Morgan case. This will get them to open their books. Once Credit Suisse or anybody else has to give up their clients, we get to see who is selling the shares, right? They're going to start pointing the finger and saying, hey, it's not our trader. He doesn't want to go to jail. It's this guy. Because the first thing that's going to happen, they're going to start giving up people. That's what's going to happen. And that the other stuff, everything on the outside that you're discussing, I believe we're getting close on all those things. 2.5 years ago, if you were listening, I was throwing a ball against the wall with 8 guys talking to each other, 20 guys, right?
I was one of them.
Margin. And if you were here 2.5 years, you heard me calculating margin daily. And then, you know what? We kept saying, how are these guys staying alive? How are they doing it? Well, when the stock ran to 9, the margin money exposed Alpine and broke their back. That's what happened. It took a long time, but they got caught. Okay, that's the type of things that I couldn't believe that, because I knew if you didn't put up the money in your own account, they would shut you down and sell you out in a minute. And, you know, we all saw that kid who short a stock in E-Trade. They bought him in the next day and looked $120,000. That's what happens when you don't have the money. They buy you in immediately. Why has Alpine not been moved in? Because they were fraudulently hiding all this short position, a concentrated short position. To me, that's the golden ticket. The golden ticket is then just keep pressing. Once West gets Discovery, you know, my advice is, hey, give out another dividend, a special dividend based on the proceeds of a lawsuit. I just saw Ameritrade get spanked for $2 billion on a fraud case they had to pay out. So you know there's value there. Give out another dividend. Keep doing it, because if the brokerage firms don't give the investors a long dividend share, okay, they take the liability of the short seller. West is drooling because he'd rather sue E-Trade and Ameritrade over fraud than the Kramers and Alpine, because you know they're going to have nothing in those accounts.
Let's go to another question. Let's go, David. You have the mic.
Thank you, Vizzy. Hey, I just have a quick question regarding the current thing going on with FINRA and Alpine. Do you believe if their judgment day does come and they get kicked out of the group, out of the club,
that you know, I wasn't a penny stock guy, but once you get thrown into this arena, every person that ever knew that played small caps, they all say the same thing. These guys have been robbing for 20 years. Not 2 weeks, 20 years. They have a history, and I'm sure that they rob people that have turned states evidence on them. I know of 3, okay, that came forward. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. Once it goes past me, you know, what are they telling people? I don't know, okay, but people got ripped off. The complaint line is that way. Don't make the call to West. Give it to him and his FBI guy. You know, we learned about that broker in San Diego. His firm got beat for $4 million. You know, West got the guy's name, but that's his job to do it. West has shut down all communication because it's a public company. He can't just, he can't talk about it. So I don't know anything where it goes.
Right. So, Ham, do you believe that if they do get the hammer dropped on them and they get kicked out of the club, to say, do you think that's going to be the end for Alpine and they'll be bought back in? Like, as soon as FINRA kicks them to the curb?
If you had an account at E-Trade and E-Trade is going to be shut down, you got to move your account. All right? So you may have 10,000 shares of GTII in there and some other stocks, and you can move them to Ameritrade or someplace else. If you call up Ameritrade and say, listen, I'm sure 300 million shares of stock illegally, could you take this position and be my new prime broker? Before you finish saying that sentence, you're gonna hear them hang up. Okay? They're not gonna accept these trades. Other firms do not want anybody looking up their skirt and seeing what they're doing illegally in these other places. Now, E-Trade and Ameritrade would never entertain those things as a prime broker. But, you know, these places out in Connecticut, Vision, there's a couple of shitty firms. They know that they're doing stuff illegally. They're not going to bring this trade into the house to help unwind everything else they're doing. But this short position, as we say, has hair on it, meaning that there's definitely some federal authorities watching what's going on. All right, we put the truck in front of the SEC in their lobby 7 times already. I think they know who we are.
Right on. Thank you, Ham.
Yeah. That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody, have a great night, and I'll be in D.C. tomorrow with William, and we'll go knock on some doors and get things done. All right, have a good night.
Swell.
Thanks, Tam.
All right, guys. So, Anna, I know that we have a space call coming up with Tony, Twids, and Terry and John Berta in about 15 minutes. So we could go on here for another 10, and then we're going to shut it down.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me get set up. Go ahead, you have the mic.
Thanks. So I think that was an interesting call. Hi, William. How are you? I don't know if he's on his live stream.
I'm well, and thank you. I thought it was a great call, so I'll listen to your points rather than make my own.
Well, I'm happy for you to make your own. I do want to remind everyone that we're kind of keeping the pressure up on, kind of at this point, I think it's time to start looking at these politicians who are taking the money from the hedge funds, right? So if they're stealing the money from us, and then just take, for example, the Citadel, who donated $62 million to Congress. Individuals or corporations don't donate that kind of money if they're not expecting something in return. So I just think it's really important that we, continue to reach out to media and kind of expose what's happening here. At this point, it's, we're not threatening them with anything, but our accusations are, if you're not willing to help us, we've been here now for 5 months. We've sent over 40,000 letters. We make calls daily. We hand-dropped our letters off. I personally went to every member's office on the House Financial Service Committee, had meetings with, 10 or more people, sometimes more than once. Was in the office of the chairman's office twice. So they're very, very aware of our situation, and the fact that they haven't given us anything to the effect of, we're going to help you. When I was there, it was even certain Congress people thought that they were going to put questions forth to Gary Gensler for response, right? So, and then when James Angel came in and briefed Congress on our situation, and it was just brought out today, I saw that he briefed Congress on the GameStop situation, and look, nothing happened. So clearly his interest is, when he's holding patents for dart pools and purchase for order flow, I think that there's major issues going on here. And it's like, if they're not willing to step up and, speak out on our behalf, their constituents, the 99.5% that are basically being stolen from, then it's time we start asking them why. Why are you taking money from these criminals?
Honest speaking.
So that's where I think we need to push our efforts going
Queen
forward.
Of trades.
Is basically they are, taking money from criminals, and they're allowing them to rob from us. They give FINRA and the SEC their power, and they haven't sent forth anything on our behalf saying that they're helping us. Put something out towards our community. Make a statement. Something. It's going on half of a year now, and I appreciate everyone who's putting forth the efforts to start researching how much these politicians are taking and who's taking it, because I think that's where our state efforts are going to start pushing towards, is who's taking the money, who's willing to help us, and start embarrassing them. It's time to just start calling them out on what they're doing. They're aiding and abetting the situation.
And I want to just jump in here quick and just say that everybody in this space, that we appreciate you so much, everything that you've done, and thank you for that. And we got to persevere like we're doing, and we've basically been blacklisted from we can call a regulator or like anybody at all. I've thrown out personally probably like 1,000 emails and letters, and I got a letter back from our Congresswoman Gwen in Wisconsin, and it was pretty much just a big fuck you. So we got to keep going, and
I apologize to everybody.
Everyone
I try to keep
still
my...
here. There's probably 800 people in here right now.
I've made mistakes too, but I try to keep this.
That's incredible.
Family hour. I'm sorry.
We gotta get this, and I'm gonna put my put my mute back on because I'm emotional right now. But Anna, seriously, I just wanted to tell you from me to you that thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and I'm gonna keep up what I'm doing too.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, guys, we just got to stick together and keep going strong. I know it's been a while, but this is not a time to let up on our efforts. It's a time to just keep pushing forward and taking action. Sorry, Busy, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
It's almost
I just
over.
wanted to say thank you, Alex, for those words, because I do recognize Anna and all the hard work that she's doing, and I greatly appreciate everything that you're doing for this community, not only for this community, but also the other communities as well, including Retail United. So thank you, Anna.
You can't choose
we're
your
gonna go with,
family,
Sean,
but you can
and then
choose your
Sean's gonna be our
community.
last speaker, and then maybe William could end it after that. That way we could go ahead and head to Terry's and Tony with John Berta. Okay, go ahead, Sean. You have the mic.
That's all right, William. I'm just up filling next with Terry and some other stuff up there. You're good.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, William. You have anything else to add before we close?
Well, it's interesting. I just saw somebody put up in the whatever that thing is up there called. What it leads into what I was going to add to what Anna said is ignoring everything. These criminals get away without paying taxes on their gains, and maybe we have to go the Al Capone route and reach out, get the IRS working after it. But it's insulting to tax us, increase our taxes while these people get a free ride stealing from us. And it's not a victimless crime, and it's maybe somewhat, maybe it's hard to quantify, because who knows how high our stock accounts would be without the enormous extra supply of all stocks. Anyway, that's all I wanted to add. I do want to say that Ham's call was great today. Everybody here, the community, as you call it, it's just tremendous. I'm always amazed how much you guys have learned in just a short period of time. You guys are more expert than the experts. So
I have a question for you, William, real quick. Your thoughts on what Ham just shared with the communities. Hester Peirce, your thought. I'm kind of like, that one's kind of hard to believe, but I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
Well, I tried to see that interview. I didn't see it. I do think that Charles Payne is stepping up, and I think it's because of you all. Initially it was him, but I think he's stepping up his I hate that terminology, speaking truth to power. She doesn't have power. The bottom line is these people take money from the bankers. What do we need these bankers for? Tonight, as you're driving home or as you're going to bed, ask yourself, what benefit do these bankers give? What do these hedge funds give as a benefit to you? They manage your money. How do you know? They give you 8% a year. How do you know they're not making 30? You put your stocks in with brokerage firms. They give you nothing, but they lend out your stocks. Do you get a piece of that? Goldman Sachs makes their money from the hard to borrow list. The ETFs you buy into, they lend out those stocks. What do you get for all this banking? I don't know. I just think it's time. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to talk politics, but unfortunately, this counterfeiting of shares goes along with the potential, I don't know, of counterfeiting in the ballot box as well. And we've just got to change it and get politicians and regulators working in our favor. And I would say one last thing, Busy. I was there with Anna and about 6, 7, 8 other people watching Gary Gensler suck up to the committee. But he also is reaching out to try to claim new areas to regulate in Bitcoin and et cetera. And the big debate was, are these securities, are they commodities? And it was going on and on. I really think that we should tell the financial committee to take the over-the-counter markets away from Gary Gensler, away from the SEC. He is not enforcing the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Act of 1934. Create a new regulatory oversight, put Anna in charge of it, and we'll have a vibrant, capital creating, job creating, a superpower creating over-the-counter market again.
Thank you, William. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And, for the MMTLP or anybody else wants to join, Terry is going to be opening up a space along with Tony Twitz, and they're going to be interviewing John Berta. So I will see you guys in 5 minutes over there at that space call.
Thanks,
again.
Thank you, Busy and Anna, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Busy. Thank you, William. Thanks, Alex.
Good night, John Boy. All right, so we got 5 minutes. I think I'm gonna call it early at 5 o'clock because Ham's coming in tomorrow. That means I've got a lot to do tonight, so I can get up at freaking 4 a.m. And walk my dog and etc. So quickly, if there's some questions, ask me. I do want to say this TAA Strupp asked the question. He said the brokers always win. The brokers always win. That's what TAA Strupp said. What I want to point out to you, TAA Strupp, is if you take that statement to its logical conclusion, when the squeeze happens, the brokers are going to win too. When Alpine goes down, when the buy-ins occur, their broker's going to make a winning on the upside. So just ride the tiger. Just be a flea on the back of a hippopotamus as it runs. Yeah, I can summarize the. Well, Barry, we talked about GTII's financials. There's nothing there, Barry. There's no revenue. There's no earnings. I read it out, and you can read it, so I won't. I'll spare everyone. They paid out $72 million in stock. To me, they didn't delineate it very clearly. There were some explanations. It was settlement of old things. Maybe it's payout to people. They said IR. Maybe it's people that we know. I don't know. Maybe it's being paid out to get deals done. They didn't explain it. And then to directors. Directors of the company got about $56 million worth of stock issued to them. So, Barry, there was a $72 million loss. That is an accounting entry because you have to recognize the shares at their market value. At least that's how I quickly read it. So whatever the number of shares were, you give it the market value, that's a loss. It's an accounting entry. It doesn't change the dynamics of ongoing earnings, ongoing cash flow. Now, where it's a strength to shareholders is if, just imagine, they bring in 1-800 law firm. I know it looks like it's not going to happen. But if it does happen, that's $100 million in revenue, $30 million in income. Well, all of a sudden, you've got $30 million in income offset against $72 million in losses. Now, I'm not an accountant. I don't know if that becomes one offset or there's some other formula. But the point is, when you have tax loss carry forwards as a corporation, it shelters income. So that's a strong point, Barry. But please, I have a question. Who did they issue all these shares to? And I may try to find out. Ham doesn't know. Ham doesn't know. And Barry, it's just not that important. It's important in the sense that there's new shares issued, new shares trading, yes. But in terms of earning, zero. Zero earnings in terms of cash, zero and zero. In terms of taking an accounting loss, 25 cents a share, it said. 25 cents a share loss they took. It's accounting, though, Barry. It's accounting. I would be, Barry, interested to know what the who were the IR and for services rendered. I'd like to see a breakdown, but they don't have it in the 10Q. Other than that, I don't think there's anything Ham could say about the earnings, and I don't even think he'd take time to answer the question. I think he'd just say it doesn't matter to him. He gets bored, he'll fall asleep. He's all about stock settlement. There's 350 million shares short, and they continue to short it. That's what he would go into talking about. Somebody asked another question, and we got off on this minutia of earnings. I studied accounting for a year. I didn't study it much longer. All I know, Barry, from accounting, it's a theory. You can play with numbers. You can play with how things are presented. You'd have to talk to an accountant who's willing to talk and is interesting to listen to tell you what just happened. To me, the takeaways are there's a lot more stock out there to sell, and insiders are going to make a lot of money. Now, do you want to take that away from them? These are the people that refuse to do to your share value what other companies have done. These are the people trying to make sure that GTII takes out the shorts. So I'm not going to judge it. I don't have any control over it. God. Dead Endsville. Dead Endsville. So I pointed this out, that if the brokers always win, they can win on a short on the other direction. What's Ace's point? What's Ace's point? What did he retweet? Someone called me a fraud? Who called me a fraud? Who said that? Let me see what this is. Moody Waters. Ms. All right, Ms. Ms. told me. Hasten Holt tweeted about acquisition of Trento. That's great. That's it. Logic, Don J. I will do that. Let me just see what Ms. is saying about me. I don't know if Ms. is lots of people posts about you and Ham being frauds. All right, Ms. Ock. What's your name, Ms. Ock? What's your name? You know my name. Ms. Ock, how long have you been on here? I'll tell you who's the fraud, Ms. Ock. It's Kurt Kramer, John Hurry, Seth Kramer, and Charlie Mayo. They are selling stocks that don't exist. So, Ms. Ock, tomorrow I'm going to go to Congress with Ham. Come down, Ms. Tomorrow, or come any other time. You and me, Miss. We'll go into the SEC. You can turn me in. I'll turn you in. Let's see what happens. Ms. Ock. Look, I have enough doubt about myself in the morning wondering, wondering about my self-worth and everything. I don't need a bunch of jerks calling me a fraud. The last thing I am is a fraud. I might be incompetent. I might get emotional. But I tell you one thing about me: what you see is what you get. I'm not Machiavellian. But anyway, Ms. Ock, you can hide behind a fake name, and you can throw something out that's completely worthless, calling me a fraud. I get sometimes embarrassed with myself because I come out here and I lay it on the line. I try to answer every question, even the ones I don't know the answer to. No, just kidding. And sometimes I'm so worn out, or I do say or do something silly, and I go, good Lord, why did I do that? But Ms. Ock, since I've been in the GTII, over 350 million shares have been sold that do not exist. I'm not selling them. I'm not selling them. Your friends are. Your friends are. And you're willing to sleep tight every night knowing that you helped criminals. And Ms. Ock, make a specific accusation of what fraud I've done, Ms. Ock, and I'll answer it. Make a specific accusation. Well, Matt, I have to worry about my net worth. So he is a troll. All right. He is a troll. Okay. We might be over the target. I was going to answer, GTI and logic. I thought, and I forget, I'm sorry, who asked the question, so forgive me. But on GTI and logic, last night the call was excellent. I received some input from people I respect, one in particular, who really asked me the legitimacy of logic and Go Logic, and that's fair enough. I don't mind people asking. And the CEO. I know the CEO now. I've known him for maybe 6 years, but I've really gotten to know him in the last, let's call it a year. He works extremely hard. I would summarize the opportunity with Logic and Go Logic both combined as an opportunity to Brent, the CEO, made some of the same mistakes that the CEO of Finger, the CEO of COSM, the CEO of CLNV, the CEO of MULN, Roger, John Hamilton, all these CEOs, HPIL. Why? Because the smiling faces lying to our faces. And they make, so anyway, that's in the past. Now he's fighting. So that's my number one thing, is he made it clear on the call yesterday. He is trying to organize buyers to cause a short squeeze. And he's out in the open about it. On logic, my summary is, rather than May, June, we're looking at June, July for the distribution of data logic into the Aubrey SPAC. And I ran through the numbers yesterday, rather than bore you, that it's $114 million worth of Aubrey SPAC stock, which is trading right now. It's currently valued at $118 million. but I used the OTC market number for shares outstanding rather than Yahoo's. I came up with about $1.25 a share for the starting out price. Remember, they're going to distribute data logic, which you're going to get into $114 million worth of the Aubrey SPAC. It's going to de-SPAC, and you're going to get those shares. So it works out to about $1.25 a share. I expect that now, end of June, beginning of July. So it's 30 days later. But remember, he went to fight Ionic, so that added a little time. But that could cause a squeeze actually in Logic. I'm not telling you to buy it for that reason. Second thing Logic's going to give you, once data logic is distributed, Logic exists, they're acquiring a private company. And he explained that that is bigger, better, more revenue, more value than the one they already announced. And I went through that yesterday, and without boring you, it works out to about 75 cents a share. So 50 to 75 cents, I think. Maybe it was a little more. But anyway, you add $1.25 plus 50 cents, you get to $1.75. The two lowest estimates of the starting point in less than 60 days. Stocks trading at 38 cents. It's a 4 to 5 to 1 on that basis. The ability, he talked about the ability of Logic to acquire these teams and technologies and young companies that have great opportunities for growth. This is where they're going to show. They're going to show leaving this year. He expects a run rate of $100 million in revenue for Logic, and already they've gone from 20 million run rate to 40 million. So that was Logic, and I've taped it, but I can't seem to get it up. So I'm going to try to do something with my live so you can re-listen to it. On Logic, he talked about the various options. And remember, everything about Logic I just said applies to Logic in terms of merger and acquisitions, acquiring companies, adding revenue. It's the flip side of all the pain we've gone through, because the IPO market is dead, right, or was dead. I don't know if it's coming back to life. And they can make a lot of acquisitions that add earnings, revenue, technologies, and talent. And they're already working on a lot of them. But anyway, with GoLogic, he mentioned several possibilities that are ahead of them. And I'm just going to do it by memory. Yeah, the tapes out, my tapes out there, you can listen to it. One is they could, let me just look at my list that I wrote down, because I might get it wrong. They could continue on their path right now and go for an uplisting to the New York Stock Exchange. And I guess that would be in conjunction with Kraft Capital raising some equity through their retail clients with no warrants. I don't trust any capital formation firm now. But anyway, that was one. Two was to this Regulation A plus. I really don't know what he's talking about, but it's another way of doing it, getting to the NYSE as long as they maintain a $15 million shareholder value. And then this is the one that perked my ears up. He's talking about they may have an opportunity to merge GoLogic into a existing company that is already listed on a senior exchange, and to do it where it adds immediate value to GoLogic shares for you. It puts the shorts in trouble, and it it would also have that same effect of having a distributed Go logic, but it would have this new public entity, which, like I just said, is already on a senior exchange. I had a point, I just forgot it. Anyway, they would try also to go up. They'd be NASDAQ listed and then try to get up listed on the NYSE. He mentioned that if that option happened, the shares of Go Logic that everybody has, I don't know if you have them, some people do, I have them from 2 years ago, would be free to trade. So there's a lot of exciting stuff out there for Go Logic. I'll try to do a video and summarize it for you better than I just did. All right, go to John Berta's space call. I need a haircut, and guess what? I'm not going to get it tomorrow. I want to get a haircut so that I got to get ready. Is Ace in the hole here? All right, you didn't call me a fraud. Okay, miss, thank you. Thanks for saying that. I hope you understand why I would react. So thank you, Ms. Zock, for making that clear. I don't, if criminals call me a fraud, it's, remember my client? You'll point one finger at me, 3 fingers point back at you. So, yes. Vinman, I think I want to see what Ace is the place for the helpful. Yeah, Ace, I don't see his comment, and Ace is great. Thank you for being here. What I think's going on with GTII is, as ever, just fraud. And I think there's very little selling from us, so to speak. If there's any fault I see in our community, which I share in, is I wish I had sold some at 2 or at 3 so I could be in there buying now. But I didn't. It does seem there's some buying in there. What I think's happening with GTII stock is, sorry for yawning, is they're trapped. They're in trouble. But there are these day trader opportunistic, and it's not Mizak. I apologize, Mizak. I didn't realize I said it's your friends. It's not your friends. These guys, it's just really hard to explain it quickly, but short seller 1 sells it down, and then short seller 2 shorts to the market, effectively buying those shares, selling. Let me see how it works. Your short seller 1 sells it at, I don't know, $1.50. Short seller 2 shorts the stock at $1.25, allowing short seller 1 to buy those shares. They lock in a 25-cent profit, all created out of thin air. The shares in the first instant didn't exist. The shares down here sold so he could buy back don't exist. It's all fraud. But if they did it on 10,000 shares, or let's call it 100,000 shares at 25 cents, they take 25 grand out of the market. It's stealing. And that's what's driving it downward. Goldman Sachs makes a profit on it. Gary Gensler doesn't have the cojones to regulate it. And it's just stealing. And so when we look at the stock price and going to Ms. Ock's point about fraud, it's all fraud. It's all fraud. Because they have the market maker exemption, that the first criminal sells it from $1.50 down to $1.25. The second criminal sells it $1.25, allowing the first criminal to cover being able to take his money out of the market. Otherwise, it's sitting there. The second criminal has sold it I can't pronounce that word all of a sudden. The second Kramer has sold it at $1.25. That doesn't exist. A third Kramer comes in and sells it at $1. So the second Kramer is able to buy it back for the same, let's say it's 100,000 shares, for the same 25 grand. So now the third Kramer is short at $1. Now they have to try to quickly get that back and forth massaging, scaring you, not letting it run very much, selling it down, moving. If they can contain the losses on that third Kramer to, let's say, 5 cents a share, losing 5,000 on that third Kramer. Kramer number 1 made 25 grand. Kramer number 2 made 25 grand. That's 50 grand. And if they can contain those losses by going back and forth, and you're going, why is it down? What's going on there? The company has to release. The only person that can do anything is the criminal advocate, Gary Gensler. So the one that advocates for the criminals. And so that's what's going on. That's what is all of this volume. It's taking your money, it's taking the prime broker's money out of the market and sending it to the Cayman Islands, sending it to Tel Aviv, giving it to Kurt Kramer's wife or John Hurry's wife in their name. And Gary Gensler builds a fortune, and he glad handing Gary Gensler does nothing about it. So that's what's going on. That's how I see it. Well, Moody Waters, I overreacted, and so Ms. Probably, I don't know how. See, that's the problem, Ms. These are just short little entries, and I can't tell. But I can understand now that you explained it, that you were letting me know, which I appreciate, by the way. I just took it that you were joining in calling me a fraud. And I probably overreact. If you know in life, people overreact because you hit a nerve. And sometimes I wonder, I wonder who wrote the book of love. So I just sometimes wonder if I'm, I have that feeling inside. I don't know if any of you have it, but you just wonder if you are a fraud, or if you are, it's called, there's a word for it. Just can't think of it right now. It's called I have a Joe Biden moment. So anyway. No, they're not using the dividend shares. They're using IMENs. You can count on IMENs to make a completely not-for-nothing joke. Two men were talking about their wives. The first man said, "My wife is an angel." The second man says, "You're lucky. Mine's still alive." Brum bum bum bum. Brum bum bum bum. Brum bum bum. Brum bum bum bum. So anyway, the stealing is going to continue until Gary Gensler enforces the rules. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if Samantha's here today, but I had breakfast with a great friend of mine, and he CEO of a tremendous organization, although he's now kind of stepped up somehow. But he was explaining his role, and I said, that's what Samantha was talking about. And I think she called it imaging leadership or something. Something. Anyway. When she comes on again, I got to remember to ask her. So anyway, why don't you guys all go over to the space call, listen to John Berta and Anna and Busy Brands. Settlement will come, John B. Real Estate. That's a good idea. Go, but they'll say that if I go protest in front of Gary Gensler, they'll call me a white supremacist extremist. Oh, very funny. Very funny, Moody Waters. That's true, David, and they will also try, David, to get me to overreact, and then I piss off. Sorry for my language. I upset Ms., and Ms. gets upset with me. They do their job of tearing us apart, and so I get frustrated with myself because I do want this discussion to be able to accept anybody's point of view and also forgive any blows that are just misunderstandings, because our common enemy is who we're after. So I get mad at myself when I sort of further the criminal's agenda. Did I hear the one about the man with a duck on his shoulder? Hey, Moody. All right. Yeah, we'll all be strong. So I know I never heard of one about the duck on the shoulder. I'll give it 3 more minutes. No, you didn't offend me, and neither did Ms. Now that he explained. So it's really my apology that needs to be made, and I make it. I apologize. You know what happened today? Carlos Alcaraz lost to the number 135th player in the world. Can you imagine? But then I was looking at the draw. The Joker has to play Sinner next, which Sinner's good. He's a good player. It won't be easy. But I think Djokovic can beat Sinner. And then he's probably going to have to play, I think it's Rune. I might be getting it confused with Rudd. I think it's Rune. That's not going to be easy either. But on Alcaraz's side of the draw, the only one tough in there I see after Alcaraz is Tsitsipas, who's also very good. But for some reason, well, there's some other tough ones, but I think Tsitsipas will beat him. But for some reason, Djokovic, when it's a big match, can beat Tsitsipas. So I think his toughest one is going to be Rune, if I have that correct out of my memory. But what's frustrating for Djokovic is even if he wins it all, gets 1,000 points, he's defending his 1,000 points. So Alcaraz just lost. I think he made 90 points. But that 90 points is enough to put Alcaraz in first, world number one. Because they didn't give the Joker his 2,000 points from Wimbledon. I'm reading I'm reading this as if it's going to be a joke, and it's serious. But thank you very much. I always try my humor, and my humor can be quite trying. Joe West, the reason we've found the Kramers so quickly is they signed the deal with GTII, and Ham, anyway, all I can say is there's one trap short, and the information flow allows you to know exactly who it is in the case of GTII. With the other companies, you don't know who it is. So that should be an advantage, but we must admit, so far, Kurt Kramer has won. But his wins are Pyrrhic, in my judgment. It just stole my popcorn. So Kodak's going up. But anyway, that's one of the advantages of GTI. He had a duck on his shoulder. Oh, lordy. Duck, duck, goose. Well, Vin Man, Biden says white supremacy is our biggest domestic threat. This is a man who wrote the crime bill, which I would submit 3 strikes you're out, destroyed more families of color than any other single thing since the awfulness of auctioning human beings like cattle or horses. But I'd say that crime bill did more damage to people of skin darker than mine than any other thing, and Joe Biden's proud he wrote it. But a friend of mine pointed out, and I tend to agree with him, that America has a shortage of white supremacists. On the other hand, they had a lot of them in the past, and they hurt a lot of people. So I think we have to understand where some of it comes from, and there's a lot of people, including my ancestors, who came to this country with nothing, and they were mistreated in their homelands, and they just came and worked hard. But I'm basically Irish and Italian. There's probably a little Huguenot in there, and there is some Lithuanian as well. But the characteristics that are emphasized by both sides are either Irish or Italian. Well, I'm not going to repeat what the signs used to say because they were derogatory, but they would say no blanks, no dogs, no Irish, and said some pretty bad things about the Italians as well. So it takes generations, and the America is a melting pot. And I think America was unfair The difference between my forebears that came in was they did it maybe out of desperation, but it was of their own choice. A lot of people came into this country chained to horrible, the cruelty is beyond imagination. The cruelty is beyond imagination. Absolutely beyond imagination. And that's the physical cruelty. And then what about the psychological cruelty? Not being allowed to learn to read, tearing up families. I mean, it's scars that I'm not sure the country can get away from paying for the cost. But then, there were great men like Lincoln and others. I mean, I always think that wars are fought for economic reasons. People laugh at me for that. But the Civil War was fought, as it comes down in history, over slavery. And so a lot of people died fighting to make it right. And I don't know how you make it right. I don't know how you make human cruelty right. I don't know how you make the slavery auctions that are going on in Libya now and the sex trafficking in Libya. I don't know how you make it right. The destruction of human lives. I don't know how you make it right. But anyway, I don't want to go too far down those angles because these are very deep and serious issues of right and wrong, and it shouldn't be for me to judge it. I mean, I can just, from my own experience of life, tell you that even guys with this color skin can have a really difficult life, and it can be very hard. But does it compare to, I don't know. My sister always says you can't, because she's upset about the things that happened to us when we were young. I blocked them all out. And I always point out, well, yeah, but at least we're not that, or at least we're not that. And she said, yeah, but you can't just say that, because we each experienced the difficulty we went through. And I don't know the answers, so I guess I should keep my mouth shut. Well, 500, Tom M., I think you should tell them you don't want to pay $500, that it should be $50 or $100. But they don't want you to ask for it, Tom. They want you to say, 500 is too much, just leave it there. Now, Tom, here's my thoughts. If you can get 10% of your share, well, it's a little less, 9% of your shares sent to you that were just gifted to you, and it causes a short squeeze, why not do it? Why not do it? Ham has promised that he'll find a brokerage firm and I think the company can get the transfer agent to do it, to accept your shares back for a small cost. That's the problem. They want your shares in this fraudulent electronic form so they can cheat you. So they don't want you to take it out, and they want to make it difficult to get shares back in so you don't take it out in the first place. Well, the first slaves in America maybe was the Irish. They were certainly indentured servants. But, I grew up I've started thinking about it again, but my mother would tell me, do not tell anyone you're Catholic. When you fill out the form, just say other, or that you don't want to disclose it. So I don't know. I don't know why mankind is so cruel to mankind. I really don't know. But anyway, I think, Tom, you should ask for a lower price and take the shares out. Yeah, 22J Dog, the movies. What was that movie? Rain, Black Rain, or something, with Michael Douglas, maybe. Anyway, yeah, their DA Logic's not going to trade again on the NEO. So it'll have to trade on one of the other Canadian exchanges. Brent did an offering on the NEO 2 summers ago at $3, and he was assured there would be no short selling. Well, they immediately shorted the stock. You see the effects. And they're asking him, I think, for $180,000 to stay listed, and he refuses to pay it. The NEO exchange is an abomination. I saw a Woody Allen quote, David Suchamel. He said, "Sure, love's the answer. Sure, love's the answer." But in the meantime, sex is a pretty good way of finding it out. Mike Douglas, yeah. All right, guys, go over to the space call. I'm going to end it. I hope not abruptly. Appreciate everyone coming on. We'll get through this. I'll be less of a scold and more of a compatriot in the future. And we're going to get through this. I think today's trading was very positive in GTII, by the way. I would have liked it to be higher, but I think it's pretty good. The link for the space call, I'll show you. No, 1-800 hasn't gone through. That's an interesting theory, Charlie Mack. Let me find the space call. It's about John Berta, but let me go up to the top. I don't see it. Hang on a second. Hang on. Here it is. This is it. Tony's great. Terry. John Berta's great. Drew Diligence is great. Phantom. It's a good call. So I would go over there, and I wish everybody good luck. So if you'll let me say good night, I will say good night from Washington, D.C., and we'll pick it up. Black Rain, that's it. We'll pick it up. Same bat channel, same bat time, same bat BSer. Anyway, all right. Cheers, everyone.